Thank you very much for having me and listening in on this webinar about head title Waste is Eating Our World, Save Our Oceans. At the end of the day, it's all about circular economy and how we can circulate things and using nature more than synthetic products. We will kind of touch base on the thing about authentication technology and how we can use that to promote sustainable practices. I will touch base on additive manufacturing, recycled materials, and traceability in this webinar. And of course, also ask the question, what is a digital product passport? So let's get started. So I'm Stefan. I'm originally born in Sweden. I'm running a couple of entrepreneurial companies at the moment. I've been involved in co-founding or founding some of these corporations, and I lead a couple of them at this moment. So let's first, as an introduction, talk about Lost Boys Lab. It's kind of our research facility. This is our circular design studio. We run one of Scandinavia's largest 3D print farms. And basically, 90% of the things are material we developed in collaboration with partners and completely recycled. We are developing technology for Autodesk Fusion 360. We are an UNOPS associate. You can say that we are kind of a think tank or innovation hub, even if we are a kind of a corporation. So we do everything from complete designs for companies all the way through to serial manufacturing in our local printing farms. This is a typical project example. What we do, we decide to actually do electrification and a complete digital spare part concept out of a vintage car. All the prototypes are done in additive manufacturing. We basically 3D scan the whole car. We redesign it. We will install electrical engine, batteries. Everything will be redone using digital manufacturing technologies. And of course, 3D printing and additive will be at the center, but also the concept that this can be done in a very small kind of facility and environment, and kind of a learning project. We estimate that this will be a project that will be running over 2023 and passed into 2024. We're also involved in the industry. It's a Swedish invention of a very large 3D format printer printing with granules. It's called Magnum. It's quite unique in its technology that it can print with pellets and granules directly. So it's very, very suitable for circular manufacturing and using recycled materials, biomaterials. So for instance, you can print with fish nets that is mixed up with wood fiber in a 50-50 ratio, and that creates basically, you can create furniture with that, which we'll showcase a little bit later. I'm also involved in starting up Infinite Acoustics, which is probably one of the first loudspeaker acoustic companies completely done with 3D printing in microfactories. It's using 100% recycled Adnite black velvet, which also includes recycled materials like post-consumer tire rubber. We really work hard with them with the design, really taking on trends like Dolby Atmos music, and really designing art pieces of loudspeakers that will be able to be built super locally and actually can be completely recycled afterwards, since they are not treated or anything like that. Also involved in assisting and setting up a style collection home. All bioplastic recycled materials, all on-demand products. And the latest furniture collection was showcased at Stockholm Design Week, actually last week, completed with product passports already, way ahead of the whole furniture industry. Completely recyclable. You have retake on these. They're all done with recycled materials, wood fiber and recycled plastic, fish nets and recycled wood, and also then tire rubber and EPDM rubber and other type of recycled polymer mixes. Super beautiful. We have done all the product with all the design patents and These are 3D printed in the big Magnum printer, fully on demand, and it can be done also locally. So, going in more on the subject of traceability, authentication, and why will there be basically a law in European Union 2026 about product passports? This is a subject which I personally have worked in the last 30 years, building different type of digitalizations platform for different industries all the time, finding out to get the right information to the right person at the right time. So what we're actually looking at is more of a passive IoT, passive Internet of Things. We try to actually create a platform and a system where every product we have, from the clothes we wear to the dishwasher we buy to the speakers we buy to furniture, cars, you name it, will have an identity. And this unique identifier will help us to find and trace the product's life cycle and give information to different stakeholders all the way through the process. So we are a quite big team behind. We have a lot of our operations today is in the US and partly in Sweden and Denmark. And this is set up as a complete development company at the moment. And what IO is at the moment a freemium. It doesn't cost anything to join. It's a way for us to build up relationships, test the system, and basically get the platform up and running perfectly. We are, of course, basing our core values of saving the oceans and getting them cleaned up. Um, Traceability and public access to information is very vital part in the UN environmental report, and working with the 7 R's is definitely the circular thinking we have in all our companies, and that goes all the way through in what IO. It's kind of the core of what we're doing. And the big takeaway from the UN report is that the importance of circular material that flows through everything. We have to get it out of the oceans and not treat it as waste, but instead treat it as material, and using technology to actually make it traceable and yeah, understanding more and knowing more what to do. So this is one way of showing that triangle, how the technology should assist in and designing out waste, encourage cyclical use, design products that actually are made for take back and sustainability, and that can mean very often that just avoiding treating them will actually make it recyclable again, or at least inform that they are treated and how they can be recycled again, and so on. So there's a lot of information that is needed to be connected to the product itself. And of course, the 7 R's based from a circular designer and from a manufacturing additive, which is 3D printing. It's a kind of a little bit different because we have a remake in our model. We see the circularity more as a spiral and not only as a one go circle. So very often when we start a project, we look at what is the scope, what is the take, and obviously in this, if you look at this little bench, the concept is to use bioplastics that are recycled locally, and then you add actually waste from the ocean and use these kind of wood pieces that you might find on the beach, and then you can build yourself a bench. So basically you go in already in the recycle circle, and then you start to rethink and find out how we're going to use this product and get it circular and reuse again. And the technology to explain this and tell the story and inform other stakeholders that will use this bench or want to resell it later or want to remake it again or recycle it, it's all integrated in our What.io lifecycle platform, which you can also call a product passport. Product passport will be a lower level of what we are doing. We will be on a higher level where we will have more features and functions that we can allow. Still, it will of course be the brand owners owning the data, and it will be an open system, open with API, open to link to and link further. We use something called NFC chips. We can obviously also use a QR code. Our system generates automatically unique ID. And at this moment, we are very detailed. We are really looking at each and individual product as its own identity. We don't look at it as a product overall, general. We don't look at it as a production batch. That is features we have a intention to implement, but we start with the hardest part, and that is actually to get traceability on each and individual item uniquely. So by using NFC, you're actually getting something automatically, and that is a serial number. So we have a system where we generate a serial number in combination with a brand and some other token data, which is patent pending, where we write all this down into the chip and then we lock it. The NFC tag is actually something which is an ISO standard 14443A. It's in all your credit cards, mobile phones are compatible with this, and so on. Uh, our system is more a tool. How can you get started with product passports? How can you get your information out and get to understand what this will mean for the rest of your company? Because this will have implications on everything you do in your company. The system is super easy for a user. You don't need an app to actually read the data. You simply do the same as when you buy or you tap with your ticket to a concert. You just tap your phone, and by tapping the phone on a product, you actually retrieve all the different type of information that is intended for you as a user. Um, Obviously, in the background, we have a complete cloud database and manufacturer's toolbox with all the tools how to program these NFC tags, how to set up products, assemblies, spare parts, all the kind of material data and material databases, and how you set everything up with certifications and these kind of things. So, what are the big macro drivers for a product passport? It's not only the European Union that will kind of legislate on it. Already, we have 1.6 billion NFC enabled smartphones. NFC is becoming, together with QR codes, the way to actually interpret something that is physical and understand and get a unique identification back. We're following this, so we're using the whole standard, and we see that this will be a huge take on using NFCs for identification. No battery in the NFC tags, and also through the additive manufacturing processes we use, we can actually embed these NFC tags inside the material. So it will be completely protected and integrated into the product itself. Um, Other things which is different from using NFC or simple QR code, the product passport, is the counterfeit token. We can actually put the validation of authenticity inside the chip. And this means that there is a system that actually can check and so on, that it's not counterfeit, it's not copied. And this is the dilemma you have with a QR code, that it's just basically a visual paper-based system which you can simply copy with a mobile phone with a camera, and you can print another one and claim it's the same product. With our authentication system for NFC, that is not possible. Also, the Fabricator app, everything we do with the app is based on standard Apple iOS, Android technology, and it's very easy to program these. You don't need special equipment. You simply download an app to program the actual tags, and that's connected to your whole back office system. Also, live updates. I mean, things do change, and there will be additional regulations. There might be new data that is needed, and the beauty with our solution is that you will always have that link. It always, that unbroken link of information will be connected to your cloud, and you can update users or recyclers or anybody in the circular process with additional information. And that's one of the beauties of our product. Um, Completely integrated with 3D printing. One of our clear, so to say, goals or objectives is to become the life cycle product passport platform for all additive manufacturing going forward. Super easy to use. You basically use a web browser to build up all your systems, and you can work in teams, you can manage things, and these kind of things. So just some example, we work with a Danish watchmaker. They have a sustainability concept on their Guardian watch, the guardian of the environment, guardian of the planet. And the box was made in the local microfactory in Malmö, transported to the Danish headquarters in electrical cars. It's all done in recycled bioplastics. And of course, the whole story about this is connected on the chip. And this chip can also serve as an identification of originality of the actual watch. Together with Solaris, that is a UN-backed community, we also work with ocean plastic and ocean waste, and that goes actually through all our different corporations. So Solaris have really started to use What.io in all their kind of assistance in the product developments for the traceability, and also enabling a very simple relationship between the product and the story about the waste streams. Where did it come from? How was it made? How can we recycle it again? And so on. So that's a very interesting collaboration. Procut is a Swedish company. They design now a green line of their emergency lights using What.io extensively in all their different products. And this means also that they have the ability to upload all the different certificates that is needed for an electronic product. Very easy to inform the user when and how to change battery, and also then where to get the battery and what to do with the battery. So the batteries will actually be handled as a product assembly, which is kind of features we have in What.io, which is very effective. We also try to get into basically the material manufacturers. So we work very closely together with Adnorth, and they exchange their simple label sticker where they were just basically printing a simple article number and some other information on the filament to a very intelligent label. And this intelligent label, they can actually use the same label printer, the print on the outside, but by tapping this filament, you can know where you can actually send back the filament spool, how the filament spool was manufactured, and the data sheets for that spool. And you can, of course, also read everything about the material, getting the material data sheets, material safety data sheets, and you have the ability to get all the kind of settings and printer information and these kind of things with the help of the smart label system. So basically putting a product passport already on the material side is the ambition here. So we have a massive potential on the so-called TAP. We think that every industry will have to embrace a way to actually create product passports moving forward, because transparency and openness will be what will make the big difference in our industry. And hopefully consumers and businesses will choose products that are very open with how they manufacture. They will allow to let other people repair and refurbish the products. And they will provide them with spare parts and these kind of things. And that's basically the kind of infrastructure we are building here. It will be a completely kind of open system where you will have API access. So there will be abilities to read data from What.io and write data from and to What.io. Also, of course, URL linking is a big part. So when we integrated ePrel, we used of course, the European Union ePrel database, and everything is linked in. And we basically, with these tools, that will want to give brands and manufacturers and the fabricators a choice how they want to get their data to be published and how they want to do updates and these kind of things. But What.io's intention is to become a tool set and an infrastructure for product passports and help really manufacturers and brands do higher quality products, do better, be more transparent, stop counterfeit and cheating and copying of products. That's the whole essence of what we do. So this is just some screenshots from the cloud-based administration. So you see you have material databases, which is very, very comprehensive. They, of course, have a lot of other data sets connected to them, like material data sheets, safety data sheets, code systems and these kind of things. We also have obviously kind of an assembly tree, so you can build a product which contains other products and product subproducts, and you have parts that can be kind of components which you want other people to sell, you want to sell them yourself, you want to link it to Amazon, or you will allow them to self print it, and then you have a complete spare part infrastructure in What.io. And this kind of spare part infrastructure, this is where we think things will be going, because it's something we have to change. The mass production and the mass distribution and mass warehousing of all these small items, that actually, instead of taking up all this energy and environmental footprint, you can manufacture these on demand. All spare parts have to go digital, and we have to find ways where spare parts is actually sold on as a digital asset. And this is something we work with very intensively with 3MF, and finding ways to protect the asset, at the same time offering a way where you can purchase this item as a digital fee and actually manufacture it on demand with local material on local location. And that will change the world, to be honest. You have a really nice interface. You can work with fabrication teams. You can work very, very actively. And as I said before, this is live updates. So to get started with What.io and a product passport is basically getting the process of adding the QR code or the chips in a smart way. Then you can actually live with that system for many, many years, and you can continuously update the products and the data around the products. NFC tags normally only exist one in the main part, because that main part will take care of all the subparts. You can also have embedded 3D views for additional downloads or exploded views. In this case, we're actually using Fusion 360's technology or Forge technology. We also have a complete system for spare parts connected to additive manufacturing, where you can actually, if the brand allows it, download STL files or 3MF file for self-production of some of the parts. So in the core of what we do, we believe that the NFC tags are the way to go, because they're intelligent. They can help brands stop piracy and stop fake productions. So they are much smarter than the simple QR code, which we believe should be used in parallel to the NFC tags. And of course, with additive manufacturing, we have this super ability to integrate these chips inside a material. So they basically will be seamlessly integrated in the production in a very nice way. So I would show you finally how does it look like when you tap on a product. As I mentioned before, it's a unique product tapping. The system knows exactly which product it is, and which part it is, which item it is, which unique item. This item is the speaker Infinite Acoustics showed at the Stockholm Design Week. It's most likely the first speaker ever produced in ocean waste together with Tide. And on the top of it, it has an integrated NFC tag, and it's part of the whole structure. So these are screenshots from the mobile phone, but what you see for tapping. So you have a certain amount of images. You have a 3D button where you actually can get a whole full 3D view of the product and see how it's assembled and disassembled. You have serial numbers, product codes, and these kind of things. You can also see exactly where it's manufactured, and you can download a product data sheet. Then moving forward, you can also see who produced the material, Cremelt and Tide, and also what kind of other material that might be, because here is a secondary material on the speaker of the main materials, which is 3D printed, which is the recycled PLA from Holland, which is a bioplastic from the company Reflow. And all the material data sheets and safety data sheets are attached to the product itself. Certificates and environment, it's a huge section. You can also add an MSDS for the product itself, test reports, environmental declarations, and you also have the ability to link to other databases where you have certificates, or if you choose to have certificates completely outside, you can also just link to that. Spare parts is a very interesting section where you have all the ability to download or get links to the parts where the actual manufacturer allow you to do. Support questions, recycle information, and all these kind of things is part. And of course, how to contact Infinite Acoustics if you want to refurbish this speaker, you want to do something else, or if it should be recycled, the information is here. So that basically ends my speech. I'm really grateful and thankful that you invited me. And of course, what should drive product passports is the fact that we have one planet, and I think we better fix this planet before we look for others. And we believe that these kind of technology platforms like What.io and Product Passport technology can stop maybe some of the bad habits of yesterday. And also connected to that is on-demand manufacturing, recycled materials, and local manufacturing, and changing the way we make products and design products. That's the way we should like to go ahead. So yeah, thank you very much.